Hi everyone, it's me, Asifa Lahore. I'm doing a video today simply because I feel really angry about this topic that I'm going to talk about. And this video is basically aimed at the 2.7 British Muslims that live in the UK today. So the reason why I'm doing this video is today, Parkfield Community School in Birmingham has announced that it will no longer include LGBTQ issues as part of its religious education and sex education. And that totally infuriates me. For those of you who do not know about what's been happening, Parkfield Community School, its head teacher, last year announced that the pupils would get LGBTQ issues as part of sex education and religious education. Parkfield Community School is in Birmingham and it's majority Muslim in terms of its pupils that come and get taught at it. And literally parents started protesting outside that these lessons were promoting homosexuality, and it led to a lot of news coverage the past few months. And now today, Parkfield Community School has announced that no more LGBTQ issues are going to be taught at the school because of these protests. Now that totally infuriates me, not only as an LGBTQ Muslim myself, but just as a British Muslim, it totally infuriates me. And this video is going out to all British Muslims in the UK. To the 2.7 British Muslims in the UK, you need to do much more, way more, when it comes to fighting for equality. Now, I am a British Muslim myself, and I am open-minded, progressive, tolerant, and forward-thinking. I firmly believe that so are the majority of the 2.7 British Muslims living in the UK. Yeah, I believe that the 2.7 million British Muslims that live in the UK are open-minded, tolerant, accepting, forward-thinking, and follow the law of the land. Also, most British Muslims are liberal. We are liberal. I live in London and I myself am liberal, and I come across countless, hundreds and thousands of Muslims living in the UK that are liberal-minded, and for most Muslims in the UK, this is not an issue. LGBTQ issues are not an issue for the majority of British Muslims. Now, to the people and to the parents that are protesting outside Parkfield Community School, what I want to say is something so clear and so direct. Just because your children are being taught about LGBTQ issues, it does not mean that homosexuality is being promoted to them. It does not mean that transgenderism or being transgender is being promoted to them. It isn't at all. It's just being taught to them. It's an education. And just by being taught about LGBTQ issues, it does not suddenly make your child gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, queer. It does not suddenly make them gay. It does not suddenly make them queer or LGBTQ. Just because they're taught about it. Now, every parent, every child has the right to an education, and everybody has the right to disagree with what they're being taught. You know, education is all about taking information, processing it, and that's it. Now, just because your child is being taught about LGBTQ issues, it doesn't mean they have to agree with LGBTQ issues. They can agree. They don't have to agree if they don't want to. And ultimately, they can choose just to reject LGBTQ issues. But the fundamental thing is, they should not have their rights taken away from them of being taught LGBTQ issues, alongside Afro-Caribbean issues, alongside English history issues, alongside Black history issues, alongside Asian history issues. So you're getting my point here, right? Education is education. It doesn't matter where it comes from, what avenue it comes from, what angle it comes from, what point of view it comes from. It's just education. It doesn't suddenly mean that just because your child is being taught about LGBT issues, suddenly they're going to turn gay, suddenly they're going to become pro-LGBTQ rights. Obviously, I would want them to. Hey, I'm a progressive, liberal British Muslim. But hey, if your child chooses, do you know what? I'm against LGBTQ issues. Fine. They have a right to believe that. But I firmly believe they do not have a right to have their education be taken away by bigoted parents who have no idea themselves about what being LGBTQ is. You know what annoys me more than ever is that LGBTQ issues affect the Muslim community. Now, this is going out to every British Muslim LGBTQ person out there. Do something. I don't see British LGBTQ Muslim people actually doing something and raising this issue, because it's an issue that affects every family up and down the country. You know, let me tell you something. Every British Muslim family has an LGBTQ person within their family. Yes, I can guarantee you there is. And don't just look at the men, the women too. There is an LGBTQ person in every British family. End of. Statistics will tell you that. It's an issue that has affected me and my family. And I know it's an issue that affects all British Muslim families. Now, censorship is not the way forward. Do you know what? To those parents that are out there protesting against LGBTQ education in state schools, what I want to say to you is, just by censoring your child's education, it doesn't mean that they won't get that education elsewhere. Honey, the internet is out there. And also, more importantly, in Britain, minority communities are living side by side. African, Caribbean communities are living side by side with Asian communities, with LGBTQ plus communities, with British white communities, with Northern Irish communities, with English communities, Scottish communities, European communities, you name it, honey. We live in a multicultural, intersectional society. So to those parents, I just want to say that you might censor your child's education, but they will get to know about LGBTQ issues from another source. Later on down the line, maybe at university, maybe at college, maybe through the internet, maybe through their friends. So what's the point in censoring your child's education and actually denying them a full British education that is there in state schools and that follows the law of the land? Islam specifically says that you should follow the law of the land in the country or the area you are living in. And that is above Islamic law, it's above Islamic education, Sharia law, everything. You should follow the law of the land first. The Prophet Muhammad did it. So why are all these parents in Birmingham why do they suddenly feel they are above the Prophet's teachings? Now, you might remember that at the start of this video, I said that most of the 2.7 million British Muslims in the UK are open-minded, tolerant and liberal. Well, let me tell you something. Those liberal British Muslims aren't doing enough when it comes to equality. Why are they not speaking out about LGBTQ Muslim issues? Why are they not speaking up about minorities within the British Muslim community? Like, why am I, and maybe a select few, just talking about LGBTQ plus Muslim issues? You need to do more, people. Where are the liberal British Muslims out there that are supposedly forward-thinking, that are supposedly open-minded, that are supposedly tolerant? Why are you not talking about this issue? Why are you not outside Parkfield Community School protesting the relegation, the censorship of education for other British Muslim children? You know, if you are open-minded and liberal as a British Muslim, you should be pro-LGBT rights. And you should be out there, you know, promoting LGBTQ issues and education within the British Muslim community. End of. Why are you so scared? What are you so scared of? Are you scared of the conservative British Muslims that have a louder voice, that You know, are you scared of, I don't know, death threats like I've had? Are you scared of persecution? Are you scared of actually being a minority? Because let me tell you, liberal, open-minded British Muslims are not a minority. They just stay silent on a lot of issues. And it's the silence that allows conservative British Muslims to get away with murder. And let me tell you something, that British Muslim conservative right-wing fascism wing is very much a minority. Because I firmly believe British Muslims are liberal, but they stay silent. They don't do anything when it comes to issues. And not just LGBTQ issues, I'm talking about women's rights. I'm talking about racism. There are so many topics that liberal British Muslims just do not voice their opinions on. And it annoys me. You know, you've got social media to do it. You've got mainstream press to do it. You've got national press to do it. So please, this is a call out to liberal, open-minded British Muslims who I believe are in the majority. Please talk about LGBTQ Muslim issues. Be an ally. Be upfront and be an ally. You know, one thing I find really hypocritical when it comes to British Muslims talking about LGBTQ issues and saying, oh, it's totally wrong and it's illegal and it's promotion and we shouldn't be educating our children about LGBTQ issues. Well, let me tell you something. Most British Muslims, when we dissect the population of British Muslims down by ethnicity, most British Muslims are either Indian, Pakistani, or Bangladeshi. And let me tell you something, in all three of those countries right now, in India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, it's legal to be transgender. And for centuries and decades, during colonial India and, you know, the times predating colonial India, transgender people were celebrated in society. They were celebrated in the Mughal Empire. They were and still are very much part of everyday life. Yes, they might be socially discriminated against, but in terms of legalities, it's absolutely legal to be transgender. So why in Britain are British Muslims denying the fact that certain minority communities within the Muslim culture exist? Why wouldn't you want to be taught about that in British schools? Why wouldn't you want to be proud about that? You know, why is it that certain Muslim countries like Pakistan, like Bangladesh, like Indonesia, for example, it's absolutely legal to be transgender? Hey, bet you didn't know that, or bet you did know that, but we're denying it. Look, I just want to end this video by saying, you know what? Right-wing fundamentalism is rising around the world. Brexit, Trump, etc., etc. I could go on. And right now, I just feel that British Muslims, conservatism and fundamentalism is rising so much, even though it's a minority within the community. But the reason why it's rising its head and the reason why it's getting all the headlines is because left-wing, liberal, open-minded British Muslims, which are in the minority, do not speak up. And they don't speak up because they're scared of the conservative right-wing parts of the community. They're scared of, you know, putting their heads above the parapet. They're scared of making an issue their own when they feel that it doesn't, you know, reflect who they are, or they feel that it's an issue that isn't, you know, part of their own individual life. Honey, you don't need to be LGBTQ yourself simply just to talk about LGBTQ issues. You can be an ally. I just want to say, left-wing, liberal, British Muslims, it's time to speak up. Speak up and educate the British Muslim community about LGBTQ issues and how LGBTQ issues affect Muslim communities living in Britain today, before it's too late. I know this has been an angry and ranty video, but if you like my videos and you like my channel, please click subscribe to my channel. And also, if you want to see my latest videos, just click on the bell notification sign and you'll get my new videos. I love you all. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for listening to my rants, and see you soon.